Imagine a vast, desolate island. Winds howl across the frozen tundra, whipping snow into blinding swirls. This is Wrangel Island, where a young Inuit woman named Ada Blackjack found herself stranded, facing unimaginable odds. Ada's journey began in the small Alaskan village of Spruce Creek. Born in 1898, Ada's early life was steeped in Inuit traditions. Married young and facing poverty, Ada sent her son, Bennett, to a mission school in Nome. This act of love set in motion events that led her to the desolate shores of Wrangel Island. In the early 1920s, the world was captivated by exploration. An expedition was being assembled in Alaska, led by Alan Crawford, to claim Wrangel Island for Great Britain. For Ada, struggling in Nome, the expedition presented a glimmer of hope. The decision to join the expedition was not one Ada took lightly. Leaving her son behind weighed heavily on her heart. But Ada was driven by a mother's love and a fierce determination to provide for her son. After weeks at sea, Wrangel Island emerged from the mist. For Ada, the island felt both alien and eerily familiar. The team, led by Crawford, consisted of 4 young men and an Inuk hunter named Emu. They set about establishing a base camp, their hopes high. The Arctic summer, brief and fleeting, cast a deceptive spell over the island. The initial weeks on Wrangel Island were a time of intense activity. Ada quickly established a routine tending to the camp. Despite the hardships, a sense of camaraderie developed within the small group. As the weeks turned into months, unease crept over the expedition. The Arctic summer was ending, and the weather changed. Caribou herds migrated south, leaving the island desolate. Hunting expeditions returned empty-handed. Rations were cut, and hunger became a constant companion. Crawford's leadership faltered, and the men bickered. Ada's quiet strength became the pillar of the group. As winter tightened its grip, a ship appeared on the horizon. Crawford decided to lead a small party across the ice to Siberia for help. Ada and Emu were to remain behind. With tearful goodbyes, Crawford and his companions set off. Ada knew she might never see them again. Days turned into weeks, and the silence from the mainland was deafening. Ada and Emu scanned the horizon relentlessly. The ice floes likely claimed their companions. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on Ada. Hunger gnawed at their bellies. Emu ventured out into the frozen wasteland. But the Arctic winter offered little respite. The few hares and foxes Emu managed to trap barely sustained them. As the sun dipped below the horizon, isolation descended upon the camp. Ada fought to keep her spirits high, telling stories of her childhood. She clung to the hope of seeing her son again. Emu grew increasingly withdrawn. Ada offered what little comfort she could. The Arctic winter pushed Ada and Emu to the brink of despair. Emu succumbed to scurvy, and Ada nursed him as best she could. In her journal, she chronicled the harrowing experience. The death of Emu marked a turning point in Ada's ordeal. She was now truly alone. Yet, a flicker of determination ignited within her. She would honor Emu's memory by surviving and returning to her son. Returning to the empty camp, Ada took stock of her meager possessions. Emu had managed to shoot a polar bear, its carcass now frozen in the snow. It provided her with a fighting chance. Armed with only a knife and a prayer, Ada ventured out into the blinding whiteness. The biting wind whipped at Ada's face, numbing her exposed skin. Each step through the knee-deep snow felt like a monumental effort. The vastness of the Arctic plain stretched before her, an endless expanse of white, broken only by the occasional pressure ridge of ice. The bear's carcass, a dark smudge in the distance, beckoned her forward. Fear, sharp and cold, threatened to paralyze her. The bear, even in death, seemed to radiate a primal power. Its massive paws, tipped with claws the size of Ada's fingers, could have ripped her apart with ease. But Ada pushed these thoughts aside. Her survival, her son's future, depended on her courage. Taking a deep breath, Ada unsheathed the hunting knife Emu had gifted her. The steel, honed to a razor's edge, glinted coldly in the pale light. It was a meager weapon against such a formidable creature, but it was all she had. Drawing strength from some unseen well deep within, Ada began the arduous task of butchering the bear. The frozen flesh resisted her efforts, each cut a painful exercise in patience and determination. But slowly, methodically, she worked, her movements growing more assured as the sun dipped towards the horizon. The wind, as if sensing her resolve, seemed to quiet, the silence broken only by the rhythmic scraping of her knife. As darkness descended, painting the snowdrifts in shades of purple and blue, Ada surveyed her work. The bear, once a fearsome predator, now lay in pieces, its flesh and fur promising sustenance and warmth. Exhaustion tugged at her, but satisfaction warmed her like a fire from within. She had faced her fear and emerged victorious. Gathering what she could carry, Ada made her way back to the camp, her steps lighter now, her heart buoyed by a newfound sense of hope. The bear, a symbol of death, had become her unlikely savior. Its flesh would nourish her, its fur would clothe her, its bones would provide shelter from the elements. Using Emu's tools and her own ingenuity, Ada set about transforming the bear's remains into a sanctuary. She stretched the thick hide over a frame of driftwood, creating a makeshift shelter that offered greater protection from the biting wind than the flimsy canvas tent. She lined the floor with layers of fur, a soft and surprisingly warm barrier against the frozen ground. The bear's bones, bleached white by the elements, became tools and ornaments. Ada used its ribs to support the roof of her shelter, its teeth to fashion fastenings for her clothes, its skull as a macabre yet strangely comforting guardian at the entrance to her camp. In this desolate landscape, surrounded by death, Ada had created life. The long Arctic winter stretched on, a relentless test of Ada's endurance. Days blurred into weeks, each one a struggle for survival, yet Ada endured. She hunted Arctic foxes and hares, their meager flesh supplementing her dwindling supply of bear meat. She collected driftwood, tossed ashore by the churning sea, the flames of her fire a beacon of hope in the vast darkness. Loneliness became her constant companion, a heavy presence in the silence of the frozen wasteland. Ada fought back against despair by clinging to the memory of her son, Bennett. She reread the faded letters he had sent from the mission school, his childish scrawl, a precious reminder of the life that awaited her. She poured her hopes and fears into her journal, the one notebook becoming a confidant, a repository for her dreams of a future reunion. "I must not give up," she wrote, her pencil tracing shaky lines across the paper. "For Bennett's sake, I must find the strength to go on." And go on she did. Ada meticulously tended her traps, her movements honed by necessity. She repaired her torn clothing, her needles stitching together, not just fabric, but also the fragments of her hope. She studied the movements of the stars, their celestial dance, a reminder of the world beyond her icy prison. Ada's body grew lean and wiry, her senses sharpened by the constant struggle for survival. She had become one with the Arctic, her spirit as resilient as the ice, her determination as vast as the frozen sea. After 2 years of solitude, a ship finally broke through the ice floes surrounding Wrangel Island. Ada, initially hesitant to believe her eyes, cautiously emerged from her shelter, her heart pounding in her chest. The side of the vessel, a beacon of civilization in the vast expanse of the Arctic Ocean, brought tears to her eyes. She had endured. She had survived. News of Ada's incredible survival spread quickly, captivating the world. Hailed as a female Robinson Crusoe, she became a symbol of resilience and human endurance. Yet, her return was bittersweet. The expedition, shrouded in controversy, had claimed the lives of her 4 companions. Crawford's poor planning and reckless decisions were blamed for the tragedy, and Ada found herself caught in a maelstrom of public scrutiny. While some questioned her role in the events on Wrangel Island, Ada remained steadfast in her account, her journal entries, and the testimony of the ship captain who rescued her painting a clear picture of her bravery and resourcefulness. She had not sought fame or fortune, only a chance to provide for her son. The ordeal, however, had taken its toll. Ada, once a quiet and unassuming woman, was forever changed by her experience. Though reunited with her son, she struggled to readjust to life beyond the frozen wilderness. The memories of Wrangel Island, of the men she had lost, and the challenges she had overcome lingered like shadows. Ada Blackjack's story is a testament to the indomitable spirit of survival, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable adversity, hope can endure. It is a story of loss and resilience, of courage and determination, etched against the backdrop of one of the most unforgiving landscapes on Earth.